Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is a topic of how we can speed up the production of movies. So for this video, I want to discuss in a simple and straightforward way the topic of how we can make movies faster for anyone who's interested in understanding how we can make movies faster, without, of course, having to use AI. As we all know, AI is going to destroy the film industry. It's going to become part of it, when it comes to daily actions and stuff, when it comes to production of making a movie. So this is an alternative of how we can find alternative techniques using actual human beings to make the production of something faster without having to use AI. Okay? So that's what we're talking about today. So if you're interested in knowing how we can make movies faster without having to use AI, then watch this video and what I find. So now I mention that, let's get started. So when it comes to it, simply put it, have a reference sheet. Now, even though a reference sheet might sound kind of trivial and silly to some people, like how are you going to see the production of making a movie by having a reference sheet, it actually makes a lot of sense because half of the movie, the process of making a movie, is having an actual, guess what, an idea of what you want to do, okay? Anyone who knows anything about films and stuff knows that it takes filmmakers anywhere on average from a few years to even decades to come up with an idea for a script, okay? For a movie, everything from the plot, technology, yada yada, and all that type of stuff, okay? It takes years, if not decades, for a lot of people to come up with ideas for actual movies, okay? So the truth of the matter is, as a result of that, that obviously causes a problem, because obviously it takes so long to make a movie, while you can have AI that generate a idea that's based off of course, no surprise, stealing a bunch of people's ideas, it obviously is going to get in the way of you. Well, no surprise, being someone who is able to compete with, of course, AI technology. Obviously, no one wants AI to so many ways it's ridiculous. Let alone it's a massive plagiarizing, machine that just steals everyone's ideas. To sum it up, it's not a good thing. It'll absolutely ruin the movie industry, okay? In so many ways, it's ridiculous. So as a result, we need to find alternative ways to, of course, you guessed it, have human beings do it, but in a faster way. Because when human beings rely on creating things like this, it takes a long damn time to do it, okay? So what I'm going to explain is how we can make an idea for a movie faster so you can see the production, let alone, of course, to add to that as well, in a way that's actually believable, okay? Which is what I'm going to get to. So when it comes to, of course, the reference sheet to how will help people make movies faster, it simply comes down to the fact that the reference sheet, simply put it, will provide to have to make it easier for you to come up with an idea, instead of actually, of course, having to just waste your time just sitting in front of a piece of paper and figuring things out as time goes on, honestly, to be quite blunt honest. That's true. Okay, to be quite blunt honest with you, okay? That is the honest truth here, okay? As a reference sheet will give you suggestions of ideas you can use, everything from what time period you want to use, to obviously the type of themes, like is this maybe a theme that might be based on this particular culture, this and that, or even like suggestions of what type of plot, or what the plot of the story is exactly about, like the situation of the story is about someone trying to rescue his father from obviously, being killed by a person, or trying to get revenge on his brother or some other evil person, whatever. It gives suggestions of ideas that you can actually use in honesty, okay? That is the honest truth here, to be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? It gives you a list of suggestions so you can obviously, of course, come up with an idea quicker by reading it before you start writing it down on paper, okay? So you don't have to waste a huge amount of time and effort and just thinking, okay, without a fit. That's one of the biggest problems with anyone who knows anything about script writing knows, okay? The biggest problem is actually just coming up with an idea in the first place, okay? A lot of people, even masters, stuff right then and there, and that's really all it has to be. Okay, to put it bluntly, that is all you have to do. Just give a reference sheet, figure things out, and ask the truth of the matter. Okay, that's the first thing. Obviously, a reference sheet can do is give a suggestion of the actual idea you want to come up with. Okay, by looking at a bunch of paper, a bunch of ideas, and coming up with something. Okay, the second thing, of course, is the actual process of writing a story. Of course, once you come up with an idea of what your story is about, after you look up suggestions, you now figure out, guess what exactly is the dynamic of my story going to be about? Like, in other words, a script for a movie or a okay? Like, what's going to be the beginning, middle, and end, okay? And it's just like, if you make this part of history, even though this might seem far-fetched to a lot of people, all I can say is that literally everything that you can ever imagine and think of has already been done, okay? And I'm not trying to say you're unoriginal or anyone unoriginal for that matter. The truth is, every single type of scenario or type of this and that you can imagine has already been done, okay? Whether it becomes how you're going to start off the beginning of the movie, is it going to be about, is it going to start off with obviously maybe the situation that happens, and maybe a news reporter talking about the situation afterwards, or is it going to be showing the end of some of the ending of the movie before it does a flashback to what caused the situation to happen in the first place, like all that type of stuff. Everything you can imagine when it comes to the type of situations, or even the type of like plot type situations you can imagine has already been thought of, no matter how rich they are. So with some things, if you have a reference sheet, it'll just make things easier for you, and not just easier for you, but you can put your own spin. Like you might say from the beginning of the story, it starts off with, for the middle part, which obviously, as you all know, anyone who knows how to tell stories, these are the very basics. That's where the plot really starts. That's known as the climax, I believe. You can get suggestions of like how you want your climax to be. Okay? Like let's just say it's the climax isn't a case of the two friends start turning on each other from one to be friends and have an argument and go their separate ways. Is it a case of maybe if you have maybe another type of climax is the case that somebody tries to set them up and it creates a huge crisis, or something is somebody jealous, like whatever situation you can imagine in your life and beyond. If you use a reference sheet, it can give you suggestions, and you can just put your own fucking spin on it to make this whole freaking thing easier, as well as, of course, even how you want the story to end. Does the story end this particular way or that particular way? Like, for example, does the story end with the character dying and maybe he saves everybody, or does it end with him, of course, surviving, and he reflects on how much father he's gone, and so on and so forth. Like, all that type of stuff, okay? No matter how original you think you are, every fundamental thing for the beginning, middle, end has already been thought of. So reference sheet just makes it easier for you to do it. And here's the thing, though, it's where things get interesting. You use it, an idea that's already there, but you put your own spin on it, if anything, in your own unique, okay? Like, you might say a character walks off in the distance with his new family. Of course, that's all happened. Happy with how much he's come along to be able to have a happy, comfortable life with a family, this and that. But to end it off, maybe you might have a character in the distance when he shows like maybe a picture away of something that shows an image of his past life. You might have somebody who comes and picks it up and happens to be someone from his past or something. Like, whatever. You sum it up. You just take every idea that's pretty much been there, and then every idea that's already thought of, and you put your own spin on it. And that's true, okay? So that's what a reference sheet does, essentially. It makes it possible for you to come up with an idea, which is the hardest part anymore for actually making a film to come up with. It takes a film at the very most, on average, about a year to produce in my life. But when it comes to coming up with an idea, it takes a year, from years to decades to come up with an idea. So in short, to answer your question, this will definitely speed up the process of making a film easier, as you actually have an idea of what you want to do, and so on and so forth, as well as not just a reference sheet for an idea of what your story is going to be about, shit, how your story is play out, ideas for how your script, like the dialogue the characters can have to each other, everything you can imagine to make an idea for a story. It makes it a lot easier, okay? of course, you know, how you can make a movie faster, you know, for that matter. That is a simple answer to that question. So, in short, if we obviously people who are against AI want to, so yeah, like I was saying before, to be quite blunt and honest with you, you know, if we don't have to, if for us logical people who are against AI, we can obviously figure out better ideas and strategies to make something faster so we don't use AI. As a point, main premise of AI is to speed up the process of making something. So in short, this is a good idea and a good suggestion so we can save the film industry so we don't have to have AI ruin it for us. And that is all for the sin, so we put them out. Bye.